Number 6, where do you record at in Houston? Majority of the time, I was recording at the mansion, right? But I went out of town and I left some people here, right? I left some people here. They stole well, they act like they didn't steal it, but they borrowed it, but they still ain't returned it. My mic, I had a Newman microphone. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of big people record on. I had a Newman microphone, the mic stand, the equalizer, all of that. They took all of it. You get what I'm saying? But they like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna bring it back, man. We just riding around recording and whoop, 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 and doing pull up, but never pull back up. So, yeah, I was recording at home, and where I record at now is an undisclosed location. To answer your question.
This nigga got me fucked up. Watch this shit. So I left my little cousin here. Look what this nigga did to my car. This nigga crazy. This nigga done drove my shit. Somebody went to the store. His Uber wasn't working. This nigga talking about somebody threw something at the car and it cracked the window and then he hit the curb and popped my tire. Look at the tire. Bitch ass nigga, man. This shit crazy, man. That's why, man. That's why I don't leave niggas in my house. Crazy.
When you really sit back and look at situations like this, it starts to paint a bigger picture about loyalty, growth, and the reality of relationships over time. Because when people talk about CML going through loss after loss with his circle, it's deeper than just drama. It speaks to something a lot of people experience, but don't always talk about openly. Coming up, especially when you grow up with your homies, there's a certain bond that feels unbreakable. You go through the same struggles. You come from the same environment. You build memories that feel like they'll last forever. At that stage in life, loyalty isn't even questioned. It's assumed. You think, these are my people. No matter what happens, we locked in. But time has a way of testing that belief, because as people get older, priorities shift. Some people grow, some people stay the same, some people start moving with different intentions. And that's where things start to change. What once felt like a solid circle can slowly turn into something else. Miscommunication, jealousy, distance, or even quiet resentment. And when you're in a position where you're leveling up, or even just trying to move differently, that's when the pressure really hits. Because not everybody around you is going to evolve at the same pace. And sometimes the same people you laughed with are the same ones you start hearing whispers from. Now again, we're not here to accuse anybody of anything directly, but situations like people feeling talked about behind their back, or feeling like their trust has been broken, or even feeling like their personal space or belongings aren't being respected, that kind of environment can wear on a person mentally. That's the type of stress that doesn't just stay on the surface. It builds up. And if it's not handled the right way, it can push someone into a very dark place mentally. Because at that point, it's not just about what's happening, it's about who it's happening with. When issues come from strangers, it's one thing. But when it feels like it's coming from your own circle, that hits different. That's the type of situation that can make someone question everything. Who really with me? Who can I trust? Was it real from the start? And those questions don't come with easy answers. Now, on the other side of things, you also have situations where people show extreme loyalty, even when it puts them in uncomfortable or risky positions. There's been conversations around how Lavish D has stood by people, held things down, and even put himself in situations that could have gone left, all in the name of loyalty. And that brings up an important point. Loyalty is powerful. It can open doors, it can build strong networks, it can create opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise. But loyalty without boundaries? That's where it can become dangerous. Because if you're always putting others before yourself, if you're always stepping in when you don't have to, if you're always taking risks that don't benefit your future, at some point you have to ask, is this loyalty or is this self-sacrifice? Because real loyalty is supposed to go both ways. It's supposed to protect you, not constantly put you at risk. And that's where a lot of people get caught up. they confuse history with loyalty. Just because you've known someone for years doesn't always mean they're aligned with where you're going. And that's one of the hardest lessons to accept. Sometimes the people you came up with aren't meant to go where you're headed. And holding on to them too tightly can actually slow you down. Or worse, pull you backwards. Now let's talk about consequences. Because disloyalty doesn't always end with people just going their separate ways. Sometimes it leads to broken trust that never gets repaired. Sometimes it leads to long-term damage, mentally, emotionally, even financially. And in certain environments, it can escalate into situations that nobody can take back. That's why it's so important to recognize the signs early. Pay attention to energy. Pay attention to consistency. Pay attention to how people move when you're not around. Because not every situation is meant to be fixed. Some situations are meant to be left. And that doesn't make you weak. That shows growth. At the end of the day, one of the biggest lessons from all of this is understanding that loyalty has to be earned and maintained. Not just through words, but through actions. And as you grow, your circle has to grow with you. Or you have to be willing to outgrow it. That's just reality. Final thought, you can't control how people change, but you can control how long you stay in situations that no longer serve you. Sometimes the strongest move is improving your loyalty. It's protecting your peace.